Alright, super. Now that we have at least a working understanding of ellipses, we're going to talk about hyperbolas. Why not do something new when you kind of almost have the idea? So let's do this. A lot of the information is very much so the same. Notice the first thing you'll notice about the equation is we went to minus instead of plus between our x squared and y squared. A little note here, the transversal axis, whether it's horizontal or vertical, this is equivalent to what we used to call the major. Okay, so that's going to be tied to A, and that is always going to go first. Always going to go first. So our equation went to minus, so the relationship between the major and the minor and the focus, that equation is now plus. So they're just opposite of what you have going on. I think this part is usually, when we talk about asymptotes, that's these green lines going through. Trying to remember exactly which way that equation goes, that's going to bug you a whole bunch. But as we work through it, I think you're going to find it's really not that bad. And you can write the equation afterwards. It's usually going to be easier than writing it in the process. So let's try a couple of these and see what we have going on. Oh yeah, the other thing we should probably point out, notice that you focus, right? Kind of just like your foci for a parabola. Now it's on the outside instead of the inside. So just be mindful of what the values should be and what's going on. So the center is at 0, 0, so that's good. We didn't move anything around because that would make this confusing. We have a vertice, plus or minus 4. So that's a equals 4, a squared equals 16, and notice this is an x value. And if we're saying it's a vertice, that means x squared is over 16. It's minus this time. It is still going to be equal to 1. We need to find out what b squared is. But they only told us to focus. Focus is still dealing with c. c equals 5. So c squared equals 25. So here we go. C squared equals a squared plus b squared this time. 25 equals 16 plus b squared minus the 16. B squared is 9. Do I care that b for this equation would actually be 3? No way, because this is all I have to plug in. And that gives us our equation. Easy peasy. Alright. It's not, but I'm trying to sell it on you. Here we go. Vertice. Now this is a y value. This is a equals 4. A equals 4. Alright, that was weird. A equals 4. A squared equals 16. Foci. That is also a y value, so that tells you you're doing something right. C is 5, c squared equals 25, 25 equals 16 plus b squared. Alright, so here's what I don't want to forget. If that is y, then this is y squared over 16 minus x squared over something. That is going to be equal to 1. What is that something? We're going to subtract 16. B squared equals 9. So 9 goes in here. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. We're going to sketch the hyperbola. We're not going to use a graphing calculator to check it because we're smart. That's what we do. We get things right without graphing calculators. Vertice. Center 0, 0. Center. Vertice 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The foci, that's on the outside. So that means I go one more point for a foci and one more point for a foci. So there they are. Now, for this, I do want to find out that b is 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Remember I said you have some diagonal lines, and you're going to say, that seems kind of weird. Here's where they come from. We are going to trace with our what used to be called major and minor, and we're going to make a rectangular box. The next thing we're going to do is go diagonally right through that box. What is all this we're doing? This is setting up so you know exactly how wide that hyperbola should be. Remember, always going to surround, just like we did way back in parabolas. Surround the foci with the actual graph. So what's in the red is our actual graph of this hyperbola. And that is how it's done. All right, take a look at the next one. As you can imagine, the first thing we have to do is divide by 63. So y squared over 7 minus x squared over 9 equals 1. Alright, so let's see, a squared equals 7, a equals about 2.6. This is going to be a y value, so 0 with plus or minus 2.6. And this is on our transversal. So that means this hyperbola has to open up and down. So we said that we're going to treat it as if it was like the major, but it doesn't mean it has to be the longest one, unlike the ellipse. So there are a couple changes here. So b squared equals 9, b equals 3, that's on our x value, plus or minus 3 was 0. So we're going to start making a sketch here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's going to help draw our box here, 1, 2, 3. So I'm only going to be at 2.6, 1, 2, 3, and 2.6. So that starts giving us this picture. That's enough to get some diagonal lines through here. So that means I'm going to go up 2.6 and over 3. So we need to come up with the equation to the asymptotes of the hyperbola. That takes care of it there. What we didn't get yet was the foci. So c squared equals a squared plus b squared. If you need a reminder, remember the equation itself was minus. So c squared equals 7 plus 9, which is 16. C equals 4 when we do the square root of that. So we have 2.634. So here comes the foci and negative 4. So we start to get this hyperbola. Almost the same line here, 36 divided by 36 divided by 36. X squared is over 4, y squared is over 9, and it's equal to 1. So these have to go right in order. A equals 3. So equals 2 plus or minus 2 paired with 0. 1, 2, 1, 2. And these are definitely on our graph. Up 1, 2, 3. This is enough to start getting our box on here. And the diagonals. Notice we're going to go up 3 and over 2. Positive and negative. And the other value that we're missing so far is c squared equals a squared plus b squared. So 4 plus 9, that's going to give us c squared. That's 13, the square root of 13. Alright, so we're going to be a little bit less than 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we get our foci out here. That's square root of 13. Alright, little lesson check. And check those out. Vertices, foci of each hyperbola. And then just a little bit of homework here. We're going to do everything in the first section and then just evens of the bottom. We do want to sketch a graph. That's where we're going to just the evens.